I'm Dr. Rudi Newman, a historian and author working with Hertfordshire's library service, and in this series we'll be revealing some of the important, obscure and sometimes unusual stories to be found in Hertfordshire's history. As the West Coast Main Line passes through Hertfordshire, it detours slightly north of Watford. The result of difficulties with the Earls of Essex and Clarendon, it led to the creation of the Watford Tunnel, plus several viaducts, cuttings and embankments. One embankment lies between Watford Junction and Bushey Station, now running alongside Waterfields Way and Tesco Supermarket. This has been the location for several unfortunate events, notably the 1975 and 1996 Watford rail disasters. But there is one unusual event that would propel this stretch of railway line to international attention. Back in 1880, this area looked rather different. Fewer buildings, few roads, the railway passing through fields and trees in what was a comparatively isolated spot. On Monday the 13th of September that year, one John Heath was walking along the railway. He was a plate layer, a railway labourer tasked with checking and maintaining the tracks, which he would regularly walk to look for any potential issues. At 7:10 a.m. he saw something peculiar. Rails were connected to each other using metal strips called fish plates, but on the northbound main line, 2 fish plates had been removed. A slight hole had been dug in the ballast next to it, and sitting in it was a brown paper parcel, part open but loosely tied up with string. Placed on top of it were the 2 loose fish plates, and coming out from under the paper was a yard length of rubber piping. Lying nearby was a crowbar. It had rained the previous night, and the paper was wet, but Heath tore part of the paper to see what was inside. Lumps of what he thought was red lead pigment. Assuming they had been left by a repairman working on the telegraph wires, he reattached the fish plates and walked back up to Bushey. As he went, he met colleague Joseph Holwood, who he sent to tighten up the fish plates. Holwood then grabbed the parcel and tubing, taking them down to Bushey Station, where the station master was informed. It was a clear case of trespass, and something very untoward was happening, so detectives from Euston were summoned. On arrival, they were quickly joined by Hertfordshire and Metropolitan Police, plus the railway's regional head, before opening the parcel. He forgot it wrong. It was not red lead. It was dynamite. The tubing was full of gunpowder, with a percussion cap at the end, plainly intended as a fuse triggered by a train running over it. Fortunately, the rain had rendered it largely useless, and the vibration of an oncoming train had led to the tube falling off the rail, in spite of the fish plates positioned to hold it in place. The news spread like wildfire. Pictures appeared in the Illustrated London News, articles in leading newspapers, and the story even reached the pages of the New York Times. The London North Western Railway offered a £100 reward for information, but no one apparently came forward. Suggestions for motive began to develop, from disgruntled employees to a nihilist plot to kill the Russian Grand Duke Constantine. The most likely, though, were Irish radicals. Various bomb threats received over a long period included the London to Holyhead Irish mail train. In fact, the railway was so concerned that after the revolutionary Michael Davitt was taken to London for trial in 1881, they ran a light engine in front of the Irish mail all the way from London to Holyhead, specifically to check the track. Back in 1880, they also arranged more staff around Bushey, lining the track to prevent any repetition. While a guard reported having seen someone standing on the embankment, the perpetrator was never found, nor was the motive ever confirmed. It was fortunate not to have detonated. Carriages were still largely wooden, and the quantity of explosives would have wreaked utter devastation on the train. But this mysterious terrorist plot, never solved, would bring to mass public attention this very unlikely of Hertfordshire locations. If you would like to know more, there is plenty available, and Hertfordshire libraries are a great place to start, with many online resources alongside material in your local library. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks for listening.